Trump informs his negotiators no deal, walk away from the table, then goes straight to his phone and starts tweeting. I got updates on stimulus coming up. My name is Mike Bernard. I am the host of the Wise Money Show. I'm also one of the certified financial planners right here at Korhorn Financial Group. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, turn on notifications, and smash that thumbs up button. All right, so we got whipsaw happening on the markets, in the markets, because of stimulus negotiations. And so that's really where we're going to see this play out. Here's what happened yesterday, if you didn't see the news. That basically there was negotiations going on now over a $2.4 trillion stimulus package from the House and Speaker Pelosi. Now, if you're saying, wait a second, I thought it was $2.2 trillion last week. Yes, it was. The House passed the HEROES 2.0, which was $2.2 trillion. Mnuchin and Pelosi were then working on Friday to try to hammer out a $1.6 trillion deal. No deal happened there. So then negotiations took place yesterday to try to hammer out a $2.4 trillion deal. How in the world do we go for, that's some interesting negotiating. 2.2 offer, I'll counter with 1.6. No, now let's work on 2.4. Well, then President Trump instructed yesterday, Monday, his negotiators, no deal. We're not doing a deal until after the election. Everything's put on hold. And what happened? What was a green day on Wall Street went straight down, and markets finished resoundingly lower, giving up all their gains and falling into red territory pretty seriously, which to me, I bring up the market because I think investors are going to see really what Wall Street is relying on with stimulus, and so I'm actually paying more attention to Wall Street's, to the market's reaction to the stimulus drama than normally I would, because it gives me a sense, and should give you a sense, over whether the market is dealing with a real economy or a false economy. And if I can just go on a tangent there before I finish the stimulus update, is right now we've got the market has really rebounded. We're 6% off all-time highs or somewhere about there. And so we're really close to all-time highs. And we've got the president talking about V-shaped recovery, and yet a V-shaped recovery, a strong economy, can't really take place if the market's just relying on 0% interest rates for infinity, another round of stimulus, and the Fed printing money and throwing trillions of dollars into the economy. If the only way the market stays up is because of those three things, 0% interest rate, a stimulus plan, and a bunch of money being printed, trillions of dollars being printed and thrown into the economy, that doesn't sound like a V-shaped recovery. That doesn't sound like a sustainable rebound. If those things don't happen, or if one of those three starts to waver and the market crashes, what are we actually dealing with? This should really be informing investors. So, okay, let me get back to the stimulus drama so that you're up to speed. So Trump says no deal until after the election, and then gets to Twitter last night and says, I would approve. So this is where I wonder if his no deal was just a negotiation tactic. Again, Trump, whether you like him or not, he is a deal maker. He is a master at deals. So when I saw him saying, no, we're walking away from the table till after the election, I wondered if that was a negotiation tactic. And so here we go, Act 2. He gets to Twitter and says, I would approve right now, I would sign right now direct stimulus payments of $1,200 per American. So, hey, just give me something to sign that would send more helicopter money out, just like we had in the CARES Act, and I'll sign it. That was one. Two, give me something to sign for $25 billion of airline payroll support and $135 billion of PPP money. We wouldn't even need Congress to enact anything there. That's still left over from the CARES Act. Give me something to sign. I'll approve it right now. And so This is very, very interesting. I thought it was a very strange political move for Trump to say, I'm walking away from the table until after the election, because the polls suggest, and we know polls can be wrong, we saw that 4 years ago, the polls are suggesting that Biden has a commanding lead. And so Trump would need to do something to shake that up. and try to get some votes, and to walk away from a deal which will potentially put the stock market going down in the short term and could cost him some votes is very, very interesting. That's where I thought, I wonder if this is just negotiation tactic. But second, if Trump is walking away from the deal and there's no stimulus plan, but Biden is still very much has a commanding lead in the polls, it's very, very likely Wall Street would look at this as just a temporary setback. Because if Biden then wins, takes office late January, we get a Democratic stimulus plan that is easily approved in the spring of next year. So, what are you supposed to do with all of this information? It seems like negotiations are still going on, even though Trump said negotiations are off. Again, I don't have a crystal ball, but my guess is that is negotiation tactic. I think that is just art of the deal sort of stuff from Trump. I personally don't believe it. I would be very, very interesting, as I already said, I'm going to be very interested in seeing how Wall Street, how the market responds to this drama with stimulus. If the market is whipsawed by these stimulus deals, to me, I would say watch out, because we are dealing in a false economy, and you should be very, very careful with your investments and not just go long or aggressive on everything because the market has nowhere but blue skies ahead of it. Personally, if the market is relying on 0% interest rates and stimulus and trillions of dollars being printed, that's a false economy. It is, and I would be very, very cautious of that. And so the action item for that would be making sure that you've got a dynamic type of strategy, a momentum strategy. Right now, while things are going up, you want to be participating in that. But if the tide shifts, and it can change very, very quickly, you want to make sure that you've got a mechanism, an unemotional mechanism in place to protect. Okay? So, and then the third thing that I would tell you is, if you're set to be on the receiving end of stimulus, don't spend it yet. Don't spend it yet. I mean, that's the obvious one, but simply because Trump tweeted, I'll sign something right now to send out helicopter money, $1,200 to each American. That is not a for sure thing, okay? Even if I tell you this is negotiation tactic, that's not a for sure thing. And if you're still on unemployment, or if you own a small business and are needing some additional aid, I would not be banking on that need coming. I don't necessarily trust the tweets from the president yesterday, but I'm not putting all my faith into Wall Street and politicians getting a deal done. So, all right, there you have it. As always, work with your certified financial planner to make sure you're taking the right steps in your financial life, and certainly make sure that you've got the right investment approach for your overall financial plan in today's risky environment. If you don't have a CFP or would like a second opinion, you can always reach out to our team. Find us online, Korhorn.com, that's Korhorn with a K, wisemoneyshow.com, you'll find us there as well, or shoot us an email, info@Korhorn.com. All right, there you have it. Go out and take your next wise step in your financial life.